for coming into the Plutus Foundation. We're coming at you today. We're talking about freelancing and issues in today's economy, especially with everything that's going on with the virus. There are people all over the place, businesses shutting down, unfortunately, or pausing, and that's happening in the online and the offline world. There's a lot of freelancers out there who are feeling that they're a little insecure about their clients and their jobs and their income, and it's causing a lot of stress. And we want to get a feel for what the situation is right now for freelancers. And we want to offer some tips and suggestions for just making us get through this tough period of time. We don't know how long it's going to be. So what we're going to do today is we are talking to a few people who can help in this respect. They have a lot of experience as freelancers and have been in the financial space for such a long time. So I would like to introduce Ashley Barnett from hitpublish.com. She helps bloggers create better content. So thanks, Ashley, for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. And I also would like to introduce Clint Proctor. Clint is a freelance writer and editor, and he and Ashley are working together right now to create a course which brings bloggers to freelance writers. So basically, it's how do you make that transition from a blogger writing on your own site to a freelance writer where you're finding clients and making more money than you might be able to from your own site at the beginning. So, welcome, Clint.
Thanks. It's great to be here, Harlan.
Yeah. So, help me get a feel for what things are like right now. I know you're both in the personal finance space and know a lot of freelance writers. You are yourself freelance writers and editors. What is happening right now? Are people in danger? Should people be worried?
It really depends on the niche that you're in. At least in the personal finance space, some sites are doing wonderfully and blowing up, and really this has increased their traffic and money. Other sites have seen huge drops in their income. You know, if you were in the travel space, credit cards, sites like that their income has dropped significantly, and they're dropping writers and team members to try to not suffer too many losses. But like frugal living sites are doing well. If you're kind of a news site, if you are hitting this coronavirus traffic wave, then you're probably doing all right. Clint, what did you?
Yeah, a lot of everything you said was stuff I agree with completely, and what I've seen. Another niche that I happen to write a lot in is student loans, which is absolutely getting hammered right now because nobody cares or is looking for student loan relief because they don't have any payments if they have federal student loans for the next 6 months. There's no reason to refinance their student loans for the next 6 months if they're federal student loans. So they're like, just that income is basically dropped off the map. And so if you're in that space, if you're in the credit card space, if you're in the, like you said, travel space, you're hurting right now. You're probably dealing with less articles or editing work per month or whatever you happen to do as a freelancer. But like she said, I have seen, especially on LinkedIn, a lot of places that are more newsy and they maybe deal with more the general personal finance type topics, not so focused on a particular niche. They're doing just fine, and they're looking for a lot of writers right now because they're trying to pump out a lot of content. And so yeah, it depends on where you're at, and I think we'll talk about this more later. But if you've been focused on one niche, this is an opportunity maybe for you to pivot to an area that needs more writers right now, or needs more work right now done and more content created. And it may actually behoove you later on because you've learned about a new topic and a new niche that maybe you weren't involved in before. And when this all kind of settles and your primary niche is back going strong again, now you have two different areas of focus.
Yeah, and I expect it won't take long. I mean, looking back to 2008 and the recession back then, there was a period of time where the credit card niche was down for a while, but then it came back gangbusters like it never did before. So I think this is an opportunity to kind of get ready for that comeback.
Agreed.
Yeah. I agree as well.
So what's happening with some of those with some of those sites? Are they laying people off or not giving out assignments? Is there a feeling like everything's just on hold, or are they shutting down?
I know for like my clients, we aren't writing new articles. It's often cheaper to just update old articles. It's just faster. It just requires less work. So we are going through that. And it needs to be done anyways. Old articles need to be updated. So we've kind of just gone to that. So new content is coming out on the site, but it's not brand new content. Therefore, we don't need writers right now. And so I know most of my writers have gone to no articles. And we are definitely looking at it as a temporary thing. As soon as things get going again, we'll be right back. But I know it's rough for the writers.
So what can those writers do who are seeing, a loss in their income right now? Maybe they were writing for one or two sites, and both of those sites are no longer offering assignments.
Yeah, I think this is where, if that was you and you only had one or two clients and now they're gone, that's obviously a really difficult situation. And I think it brings out the importance of diversification and trying to have more clients. I know for me, I got to a point where I was at 3 or 4 clients, and it would have been enough to pay the bills, but I wanted to get up to like 6 or 7 or 8 because, I just didn't want to be so dependent upon one client that if I was to lose that one, now all of a sudden I lost 50% of my income. But if that's where you're at right now, totally get it. Maybe you just started this freelance life and you haven't gotten up to that point yet where you had that many clients. So if that's you, you can go find new ones. Leverage the network that you have, even if you feel like it's small. So if you're watching this video right now, there's a pretty good chance you're part of the FinCon community. So be checking on the FinCon Facebook.
Did we lose Clint?
I think Clint's a little frozen there. He's
all
talking
right,
about
yeah.
Looking at all the, yeah. What'd you say?
You froze.
Can you hear me now? Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry,
okay.
guys. But be putting on social media that you're looking for work. Let people know if you're part of private Facebook groups that are maybe focused on certain different types of work. Like I'm part of a writers group with about 15, 20 people, and we share things. So just try to reach out and connect with people and network. Networking has never been more important than now because there may be a lot of work out there that you just don't know about. And so be on the lookout. Let people know that you're looking for more work. And if you have certain editors that maybe only would normally give you 1 or 2 work articles per month, for example, email them and tell them you have more availability. One of my biggest clients, I typically only would write 1 or 2 articles for them because I just couldn't do more than that. But I told them, hey, I kind of have more time this month and I'm going to get like 8 articles this month. So you never know what availability some of your clients have until you ask them.
Yeah. And editors know other editors. So Correct. They might not have work for you, but they very much might know other editors who are looking for writers, and they're already familiar with your work. So it's very easy. If another editor tells me they have a writer that's looking for work and that person is good, I mean, they're hired, right? So they're already, though your current editors are already familiar with your work, they know other editors, definitely reach out.
Sherry Ann is asking a question here. What writing adjacent services do you think you could offer potential clients that they may need in a time like this?
As far as
so she's asking other than writing, how else can you be useful to a client in a way that where they may be spending money?
I would say the first would be editing. So that's a big one. I just took on an editor, my first major editor role this month, and that was a big blessing because I did a couple of my writing clients did scale back. So if you've had some experience writing, and you've gotten, like you said, you've done a good job for your current editors and you have a good reputation, there may be people who are looking for editors right now, and they'd be willing to give you a chance, give you an opportunity. Also social media, most blog posts have a social media element connected to that. They need to have, if you're good with design, you could be designing the artwork, scheduling the social media posts, doing copy editing. There's all kinds of different parts of the content creation process that you're probably familiar with. especially if you have your own blog, and you may be able to do some of those things. If you're good with keyword research, I know a lot of people that's very valuable to them, and they'll pay somebody a monthly rate to help them with that. So that's a few different ideas that come to the top of my head.
Yeah. And the affiliate marketplace right now is in an upheaval. Right? Affiliates are dropping out. Everyone's changing their programs. It's just, this is the atmosphere right now in the affiliate marketing world. So if you like sales copy, you like dealing with affiliates, that's a big need for a lot of these sites right now too, because like every day I'm getting 5 emails from different affiliates who need changes, or maybe affiliate dropped out, so I need to replace that affiliate in that article with another affiliate. So affiliate management can be helpful too. And I don't want to say it's easy, but it's a big need for companies that are making their money through affiliate marketing.
What other kind of requests are you seeing through your email right now, Ashley?
Oh gosh.
This is good inside information here, because as you're well known within this community, people are going to be reaching out to you as one of the first people. It's great to see kind of the inside, and maybe there's a few hints that you can give us in the direction things are going.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm sure things are out as we talk. Mind.
I did see in the comments in Facebook right now, you can find a link that Stephanie Keebler posted that there's some spreadsheets where we've talked about finding jobs through social media and using social media, but lately throughout this whole event here, we're just seeing a lot of people who are putting out spreadsheets and just opening it up for everyone to compile information for certain purposes. And so there's these different documents that you can just look at these spreadsheets and find something that might help you, whether it's a resource or an opportunity. Look for those spreadsheets. And I know we've put together some of these resources on the Plutus Foundation website. So we have a link that includes a lot of resources, and we're going to keep adding to that as we find more. But yeah, you can look in the comments right now in this video, and we can find some of those resources that might help. Yeah, what about, we talk a lot about the financial space where we're financial writers, but this could be perhaps a good opportunity to expand beyond even the financial genre and find other opportunities. Are there any resources that might help for that aren't finance specific?
To be able to start getting jobs that aren't finance specific, is that what you mean, Harlan?
Yeah, exactly. Find new clients that might be outside of the space that we're normally working in.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if you were looking for finance specific work, FinCon's great, but there's a lot of different places that are job boards that are just open to anybody, no matter what you happen to focus on, whether you write about travel, pets, or anything else, whether you're in the small business writing space, whatever you happen to have a lot of knowledge in and proficiency in. I mean, Upwork obviously is really popular. Pro Blogger. Contently is really, if you are someone who's got a little bit more technical knowledge in a particular area, you can really get some high paying clients. Some of the biggest clients look for people on Contently. To get some of those clients, you're going to need to have a little bit of experience typically and have a pretty good portfolio, but that's a great option if you do. LinkedIn, again, I mentioned it earlier. Some of really, really high performing writers that I know that make even more money than me. I mean, they are just finding all kinds of clients on LinkedIn right now. And you know what? They're really good. They're taking screenshots of them and then sharing them out there with everybody else, which is really, really nice. And giving everybody a chance to find these opportunities. But it's not really that hard. All you have to do is go on LinkedIn and search for certain keywords. So freelance writer being a big one, right? If that's for me, I'm looking on that if I need a job right now. I'm looking for the editors of certain big publications that I know is pumping out a lot of content right now. And I'd be sending them messages. You don't have to necessarily be subscribed to premium on LinkedIn to be able to do that. They will have to accept them. They will have to accept the message to see it, but you can send it with the free account. And my biggest client, as far as as far as the most well-known client that I write for, I found that way. I sent a random message to an editor there. And so it can definitely happen if you happen to hit it at the right time. So I would say craft a really good letter of introduction, no matter what your niche is, and then find places that are pumping out content and they happen to hire freelance people. They're not just W-2 staff teams, and reach out and see what you might be able to find.
Yeah, and not all businesses are online. A lot of local businesses are looking to hire.
Great point.
I know for us, we think everything is online, but there's plenty of businesses that are still just doing their regular stuff and still need freelancers or services provided to them. So don't forget just your local community, ask on Facebook, your regular friends, your real life friends. If you have one of those, any small business owner, again, and everybody kind of knows each other. A small business owner knows other small businesses. So if they don't have an opportunity for you, they may know somebody who does.
Yeah, I think, the side hustle is winning out right now, and being able to be flexible and pivot and all of those skills that, I personally in my own writing, I've been talking about for quite a long time. Since the last recession, it became clear how important it was to be able to pivot and to adapt and adjust. It's such an important skill in general, and I think that's going to help people a lot this time around as well.
I agree, and I also would say that, for me, I also look at if I would normally would be making a X amount of dollars per month, and I didn't necessarily need to make that much to be able to pay the bills, and I know that my income is going to be reduced by 25%, my freelance income. If that was me, I have two options. One, I could go out and try to replace that income right now. Or I could take that extra time and try to invest in my own asset. So if you've always had an idea to start a blog, or to launch a course, or to do something that is your own, or maybe you've already started it, but you haven't had a lot of time to invest in it because you've just been so overwhelmed with freelance work. This is a nice little lull. This is an opportunity that you might be able to actually create something that'll pay you for a long, long time. So maybe pivoting means pivoting to other clients. Maybe pivoting means pivoting to yourself and investing in an asset that you actually own free and clear, that has an opportunity to kind of grow over time. If you have the room in your budget to be able to do that. If you don't, then obviously you're just going to have to get out there and bust it until you are able to replace that income, or take advantage of some of the opportunities that are out there for unemployment. And we can talk about some of those things later. But if you can, you don't always have to be, I think, working on the clock you're going to be getting paid for it. I know for me, I'm trying to set aside at least one day a week to invest in my own asset, because I have a little bit more time this month, and I've actually really enjoyed it because it feels pretty good. So anyway, that's just a thought.
Yeah, that actually brought me to what I wanted to talk about next is, now we know that not everyone can afford to take the time to really think about long-term right now, when they're losing their income and they're trying to put food on their, feed their family and everything. So what are some of the resources what resources are available for someone who's lost maybe 75 or 100% of their income?
Yeah, well, the Paycheck Protection Plan is available to freelancers. So you can apply for that, and it covers 2.5 months of your salary, of your profits from your freelance business, based on your 2019 income, I believe. I'm not an expert in it, but that's my understanding. I know, at least in Arizona, and I don't know if this is nationwide, but they are accepting freelancers under the unemployment program, which I don't believe has ever happened before. It's not something I've really looked into a lot, because it's not something I'm going to take advantage of, but I have heard that is an option for people. So you might want to look into that in your state. That is really just a gift right now for everybody.
Yeah, that is nationwide. That was
is.
part of the CARES Act, which was recently passed, which is a big deal, as you said. I mean, previously nobody who was a freelancer would have any unemployment protection. But even with it being part of the law, we'll see how it's executed. I have to imagine it's difficult. Being a freelancer myself, I don't even know myself how I would go about trying to determine how much of my income that I've lost, improving that and everything else. So I still think it's going to be a little bit of a headache, but if you were one of those people who had only one or two, like Harlan mentioned earlier, you only had one or two clients and they're gone and you've legitimately lost all your income, I would be applying for unemployment right now. Because here's the thing is they've added a lot of benefits. Not only have they added the freelance and independent contractors to the fold, but they've also added $600 per week of unemployment compensation. So if you would normally, like, let's say at your state, like in Florida, like $250 is about the max per week. Well, now that's $850 per week that people can claim, which is like over triple. It's insane. Plus, they've added an extra 13 weeks, which is like 4 months of coverage. So I know all these things are like, probably you're not thinking like you want to even mess with it right now because it's a government program, and I understand it's probably going to be work, but it could definitely be worth it if you've lost all your freelance income for the time being.
Yeah, if you need the money and you have the time now, so it's kind of like that becomes your job.
Yeah, and it is going to be a lot of work. At least the anecdotes that I'm hearing is that whether it's unemployment or PPP, people are really having difficulty even submitting their applications, just from websites not being responsive because they're overloaded, or maybe even bad programming, or when it comes to the PPP, perhaps it's banks, they don't have their applications together yet, or they do and apparently they've run out of the money within 1 day of the application being live. There's a lot of obstacles that are being put in place here, intentionally or not intentionally, to kind of make this a little more difficult for people to really take advantage of the programs that have been put in place, which is unfortunate. So hopefully a lot of those issues will be resolved and the support will be there. Yeah, have you heard of any success stories with people receiving approvals for PPP or unemployment?
I don't think they've started approving, as far as I know. I know applications are open. I haven't heard of anybody doing anything more than just applying.
Yeah, I don't even believe that applications are open until I think this Friday for independent contractors and self-employed. I think it opened up last Friday for small business owners. But if you're a solo employed person, I don't think it opens till Friday. I could be wrong on that. But no, I haven't heard anything good. To put it pretty simply, I hate to say that. And they've really, it's sad, I hate to say it, but they've really screwed over freelancers in many ways by not allowing business owners to include their independent contractor pay in their payroll calculations for the Paycheck Protection Program, which sucks and so bad, because it's like, one of the people I write for, he's a student loan website, and his income's dramatically reduced for a couple months. He wanted to continue to pay his whole team, but his whole entire team is freelancers. So he can't, basically none of our incomes he can replace with the Paycheck Protection Program, because technically we can go get the loan ourselves, is the way that they're explaining it. But it's just such a flawed concept that's causing people, the work's not going to get done. In other words, like he could be assigning me work and work could be happening, or he can lay me off so that I can go apply for it myself, which is what's going to end up happening with a lot of different freelancers. And I hate to, be the bad bearer of reality, but that's probably going to be the case. However, if that happens to you, you can apply for PPP as an independent contractor. And if there's still funding available, and I think that starts Friday. And then there's also the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program, which it was supposed to have $10,000, I think, of cash advance that you could qualify for, which would have been really cool. I actually was really considering that, but they've lowered that to $1,000 per employee. So I'm not sure that one's worth it either. I don't know. Have you kind of compared the two, Harlan? Do you have any opinion on that?
No, the second one I really don't have a lot of information on. I do know that the foundation itself, this was, it was suggested to us by a lot of people, and we were looking into it. We wouldn't qualify for the PPP because, again, everyone, we don't have a payroll. We have contractors and volunteers. And while a lot of bigger 501c3s might qualify because they have salaried employees, we do not have that. We're not at that stage in our development. So it's not something that I've looked in, and the other programs, again, we just we wouldn't qualify for, I wouldn't qualify for, so it hasn't been part of my personal research. Mm. So Bethany mentioned in our comments a couple of things that I thought were great too. Again, when it comes back to investing in yourself, taking the time to update your resume, and also it might be a chance to look for some W-2 income too, some regular employment. I know, as much as I've heard of businesses temporarily shuttering or shutting down, there are just as many companies who are hiring massively right now. So that's something to look at as well. It might not be a job that you are super excited about. It might not be in your field. It might not be, it might be below what you would expect from income, but maybe it's time to take a look at some of those opportunities and bridge the gap a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So any other thoughts on what freelancers might need to know today to help them get through this period of time?
The quarterly estimated payments have been also delayed until July 15th, pushed back 3 months. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, because that might end up getting you in trouble if you end up, if you end up not paying, and then you find that you're now got an even bigger, balloon payment that you're due in July. But if it could help you get through a month or so of lower income until things kind of gear back up again, that is something to keep in mind. That could, I know for me, I have a pretty big payment that I should be making here in a week or two, which I might still go ahead and make anyway, because I don't know if I want to deal with that in July. But yeah, I would totally be doing it if I had to. I would be delaying that payment if I needed to have that money to pay the bills. So that's something to keep in mind. You're not going to be dealing with any late payments with the IRS if you don't make your estimated payments yet.
That's just quarter one, or did they push quarter two back as well?
That I don't know. That's a great question, actually, that I don't know the answer to, actually.
Because as it stands, quarter one is due after quarter two would be due. So I've been waiting for them to push quarter two back.
That's my understanding as well. So far, quarter two has not been pushed back. It's only quarter one. So yeah, it'll be something for your tax accountants to figure out, I think.
Yeah, but it might be, yeah. At least by July, you'll have a better idea of what your income really is, because a lot of us had a perfectly fine quarter one, and then quarter two is going to be terrible. And so to pay quarter one based on what you think based on that estimate of your income, you'll have more knowledge come July 1st, 15th. So.
All right. Well, I think we covered all the questions that I saw pop up on Facebook and everything that we wanted to talk about. So why don't we, wish everybody the best of luck. And Ashley, if you want to, just remind everybody where to find you.
Yeah, I'm over at hitpublish.com.
And Clint?
Yeah, I have my own site, walletwiseguy.com, where I write a lot about kind of personal finance advice for students and millennials. And Ashley and I are working on a little course for people who have started as bloggers like I started, and then want to be able to take that experience to start making some money as a freelancer. So I'll be over at hitpublish.com as well.
That's fantastic. All right, cool. I'm so glad you guys are working together. That's going to be an awesome partnership. I can't wait to see this course when you guys put it live. I'm super excited about it. We'll have some links to that and everything else on our site as well. So thank you both for joining us. And
Absolutely.
Thank you to the audience. You've been great. And this is going to be, of course, on Facebook. We'll put it on YouTube as well. This will be embedded in a podcast at some point. And be sure to tune in next Wednesday, too, for our next webinar. Have a great day, and be safe, and don't touch your face.